Hello and welcome back to another Euro Fantasy video. Today we are going over my team selection for Matchday 3, and if you're unaware, I will be activating the Limitless Chip for this week. So we're going to go over my own Limitless team, but starting things off, we are going to look at my current Matchday 2. Now, I'm making this video a little bit earlier than I would have liked. I'm currently making this at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, and basically because I'm going out for the entire day and I'd like to get this out before the day of the deadline. So there could be one or two changes to this team. Again, the majority of the team is going to be pretty similar to the wildcard and limitless drafts that I made. Obviously, otherwise that wouldn't really make too much sense. But obviously there is going to be a chance of one or two different changes to the team, and doesn't look like there's going to be a deadline stream this week. I'm going out for the Scotland game, so I don't think I'm going to be able to be here to do a deadline stream. So any changes that are made to the team, they will be over on my Twitter 100% before the deadline comes around. So again, just below me you'll see my Twitter. If you're not followed, make sure you go over and do that, and you will still see my full team before the deadline. So starting off with our match day 2 team, again still got a lot of players to play, 6 players still to go for match day 2. And so far it's actually been a pretty decent match week. By the first day alone, I'd already outscored my whole match day 1 team. And I imagine most people were in the same boat if they had a couple of Germany players in, because they all pretty much done really well unless you just had Verts. So yeah, stuff's going good. Akanji, Sotalo, both of them never picked up clean sheets, but both of them picked up a good amount of points. Again, this is why ball recoveries are so important. Just alone, obviously Akanji picking up 4 points and then got the Player of the Match award as well, and Sotalo picked up over 10 ball recoveries and he ended up with 5 points too. So really nice for those guys. Obviously the Germans done really well, apart from Verts, who I had. But again, as I mentioned, it did kind of work out the way I said it would. I did mention on the deadline stream that Verts would have been the guy for match day 1, and I did prefer Gundogan for the rest of the tournament. And that's kind of exactly how it's played out so far. So Verts was obviously massive in match day 1, and then Gundogan massive in match day 2. So really nice decisions there. I've decided to keep the captaincy on Mittelstadt as well, with the 20 pointer, and I will do that again today with the rest of my players playing. But hopefully we can have another huge day of points, and hopefully we can get up into the 90s, 100s, just to make up for match day 1. So my team then for the Limitless Chip, we are looking at these guys in defence, and I have made a double change to the goalkeepers since the Limitless video, which I did record just over 2 days ago. So we now have Raya and we have Maignan in goals. Now I think the French defence is going to be something that I'm going to want to target, because Poland are now eliminated. Poland are the first team that are out of the tournament, and France are obviously playing against them, so there's nothing for Poland to play for. France obviously with a really solid defence. I believe that's both games with clean sheets now as well, so I've decided to double up on that French defence, and I've went for Maignan, and I've got Theo Hernandez in there as well. So hopefully those guys again can keep a clean sheet, and it does look pretty likely considering that Poland again don't have too much to play for, and France do have to go out and win in order to secure their first place spot. Now David Raya I think is a bit more of a gamble than a lot of the other goalkeepers, because he's not guaranteed to start, he's not nailed on to start. Obviously we are just predicting that Spain are going to rotate quite a bit, so I went for him. Again, on a Limitless, I can really go with whoever I want. Obviously, if we look at the clean sheet odds as well, Spain are at the top of that with 53%. So I do think it is a good move to double up on that Spain defence. And again, it's another team who's kept 2 clean sheets in the first 2 games, both against Croatia and Italy. So you'd expect that playing in the easier fixture against Albania, they'd also be able to keep a clean sheet. But we've also said that the previous 2 match days with when teams are playing against Albania, and obviously Albania need to come out and win this game if they want to qualify as well. So it's a bit up in arms and what's actually going to happen with those games. if there's going to be a clean sheet or not. But I've been saying it in the previous videos, I don't think there's going to really be too many clean sheets, so I'm not really too fussed on those goalkeepers. I think the France double up is going to be the move, because obviously Poland don't have anything to play for. Obviously we've got Grimaldo in there as well, and again it's another player who I have had in the wildcard and the limitless drafts. I think he has a really good chance of starting over Cucurella in matchday 3 with all of the rotation that can come with that. So do really like him as a move. He's always been good in this format. And I think he could do well and get forward and stuff like that as well. And again, obviously, really nice clean sheet odds. Gehi and Orban, mainly both in for those ball recoveries. They both are picking up lots and lots of points from ball recoveries. And as I mentioned, I don't really think there's going to be too many clean sheets. So I think as long as your defenders are really either good for attacking potential or ball recoveries, I think you should be in a nice place. So Orban and Gehi are both in for that. Then we've got Frimpong as well. He's probably the one I'm not the most sure about. I think I would rather have someone like Cancelo in, but there's no guarantee that Cancelo is going to play. Obviously, we can wait and see what happens with the game tonight against Turkey with Portugal, and if they qualify, then obviously they will be rotating as well. So I've got Frimpong in there for now. Played obviously yesterday at right wing. Got those clean sheet points against France as well, which was nice. So hoping that he would play again. But again, as I mentioned, he is probably the one in this defence that would be changing if anyone was to come out. So in the midfield then we have, once again, a bit of a mix of the wildcard and limitless team that I put together in the last couple of days. So we've got Musiala in there, and we've dropped Gundogan to get in another one of the 7 million midfielders, either Szoboszlai or Eriksen. I do really like both of them as options on paper, and I think with Gundogan, definitely still a decent option, but obviously don't have as much to play for as the likes of Szoboszlai and Eriksen. So I've got them two in for now. I think I'd maybe be tempted to change my mind after seeing the Germany lineups if Gundogan is in the squad, but we'll wait and see what happens with that. I think Oyarzabal is 100% going to be in my team. I have mentioned that I think in the wildcard video, he looks like he could have a good chance of playing striker for Spain, and he does look like a really nice one, especially in the friendlies. Picked up 4 goals in both of the games and a hat-trick as well, so if he starts, he would be fantastic and a nice captaincy for that day as well. And then obviously we have Jude Bellingham as well. Again, probably England's biggest threat in terms of the midfield options. I think he looks like a really good option again on your limitless as well, because he is so expensive. And when we're looking at the goal scoring odds, England do top that, so I do think it could be a good move to get 2 England guys in, 2 England attacking guys. Obviously Portugal were in there as well, but again, it's a team that we don't really know too much about their rotation and who's going to come in. Spain in there as well, France and Germany also in that list as well. But heading back into the squad, and obviously we've got Musiala in there now. He's definitely a player that could end up being rotated for the likes of Sané, but again, as I mentioned, we do see the lineup, so if he is not in the lineup, it's just a quick easy switch before the deadline, and everything is good with him. Looking at the forwards next, and we have Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe and Diogo Jota. Now, Harry Kane and Mbappe I think are 2 players that absolutely have to be in any team that you are heading into in match day 3, because Kane obviously is a must-win game against Slovenia in order for England to top the group. And obviously if anyone's going to be scoring goals for England, it's going to be Kane, and if not him, it's likely going to be Jude Bellingham, who we've also got. So Kane is the guy in there, and he'd also be that captain. We've also got Mbappe in there, who totally missed out against the Netherlands, which makes it, in my opinion, a lot more likely that he plays against Poland. I think the fact that he tried so hard to get into the squad, made it into the subs bench, and obviously didn't play. I think there's a really high chance that he plays against Poland. And again, it's a game that France needs to win, and by a lot of goals, because the France-Netherlands rivalry is now literally just down to goal difference, and Netherlands are 1 goal ahead in terms of like goals for. So France are going to need to go out, and they're going to need to get a few goals against Poland, and obviously Mbappe is going to be the main man for that. So we've got the triple up on France, the double for the clean sheet, and then Mbappe in there as well. Then the third striker position, I've obviously mentioned in the wildcard video that I think this third striker is really open for arms. I think you can really pick anyone that you think could do quite well. So if there's a big differential you quite like as that third striker, I do like that move in there. There's also someone like Lukaku, obviously in a Limitless, it would make sense to use that budget and go for Lukaku, which again is definitely an option for me, and I definitely would consider it, but I do want a Portugal attacker for that game against Georgia, because as I mentioned, Georgia could be out depending on the result today. They could be out of the tournament completely. And obviously, it's going to be a similar situation to France and Poland, where Portugal could end up taking quite a few goals off them. So I do think having a Portugal attacker is going to be a good move. Again, I think Ronaldo could potentially be benched as well for someone like Gonzalo Ramos. So I do think it's a good move and having a Portugal guy in, but as I said, I think if there's other players you like, for example Mitrovic, Sesko, players who need to go out and get a result, could be a decent move having those guys in. So looking at our captains as well then, we are basically looking at the same captaincies as yesterday's wildcard video. We have Musiala starting things off, and again, if he isn't going to play, he's an easy switch to either another German, whichever German is going to play in that match, or we can always switch the captain to someone like Szoboszlai, someone like Orban, just really anyone that plays on that day. Would definitely prefer to have the German attacker, so if Musiala's not playing, he probably comes out for Wirtz, Sani, Gundogan, whichever of them does play, and then they just get captained against Switzerland. Obviously, if that doesn't work out, we go to Oyarzabal, who could be a huge differential, because realistically, the casuals aren't going to think to go for Oyarzabal, and if he's going to go out against Albania and get 1 or 2 goals, and the majority of us have him captain on that day, it's going to be a big boost against everyone else. So really like him as a captaincy option. If that doesn't work, then we've got Kane, again basically the backup for everyone, and has been the backup for the last 2 match days on the third day. So again, game against Slovenia, which they must win. Definitely like him. Then obviously we've got Jota on the last day as well. So again, for that third striker, I would recommend going for someone who you can captain on that last day, because I don't think there's too many big options for the last day. Like, I've only got 1 player as opposed to having 6 in match day 2, if that makes sense. 6 on the last day in match day 2, only 1 on the last day in match day 3. So if you want to go for Lukaku, again, that's another captaincy against Ukraine. Could be a decent move in there, but I've got Jota in there for myself right now. So that's the team that we've got. In terms of players that could potentially come out, I think Frimpong and Jota would be the main 2 if I was going to change them before the deadline. The rest of the defence I'm pretty set on. I do really like those guys as options. Same with the midfield. Again, could potentially bring in like a Gundogan or a second Germany midfielder, depending on how that squad lines up. And I think that would probably end up being one of Eriksen or Szoboszlai that comes out. So we'll wait and see with that. Then obviously the striker could go for Lukaku in there. Depends on what happens, I think, with Portugal tonight. I think if they don't win, then I'd be very tempted to go for Ronaldo up front, because obviously they're going to have to go out and win against Georgia. So we'll wait and see what happens with those results. So that is the team we've got right now. As I said, make sure to follow me over on Twitter, and you will get any updates to this team before the deadline. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.